This is too bright. Just gonna roll with it. Alright. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. The reason why I decided to do this video is because I've just been really paranoid lately, because it's that time last year where I had my first sleep paralysis experience, and I've just been a little paranoid lately, and I don't know, I feel like sometimes I look for signs. You know, when you kind of focus on something for too long and then like everything just starts making sense, but then in a way you feel like you're kind of overthinking it. The other day, the chair that I'm actually sitting on right now, it twirled on its own, and it freaked me out because around, like, again, I'm gonna repeat this because I've just been thinking about it a lot. Around this time last year, I had my first sleep paralysis experience. Like, just remembering it was just terrifying. You feel claustrophobic, or at least I did in my situation. And also the idea of just being paralyzed and you're awake and you can't move, there's nothing you can do about it, just wait it out. It's just creepy. It's just terrifying. So between the month of July and August, I remember it was around those time, like around there, I had my first sleep paralysis experience, and it was definitely an experience. I remember leaving work, and when I came home, I ate, showered, you know, I did my little skincare routine. I was getting ready to go to bed, and for some reason, I remember that night, I decided to fall asleep on my stomach. Now, usually I do this whenever my stomach hurts, but I don't know why, like that night, I don't even remember it hurting. I just fell asleep on my stomach. So I fell asleep like this, so my back is facing the ceiling, right? I feel someone jump on my back. At first, I thought, you know what, my little sister's fucking with me. She came in my room and she just jumped on my back. But no, like, I felt this heavy weight on my back, and the weirdest thing was, I was trying to look back, right? But this thing, it was holding my head down and my back. And it had such a grip on me. I thought that someone was on me until I realized I couldn't move anything. And I was just moving my eyes around, and I was just, you know, frantically looking around, and I just couldn't make sense of what was going on. So I started panicking, and I just remember I was just trying to move my head so bad, but I couldn't. And then all of a sudden I heard something just start growling in my ear. And it was just the most creepiest thing ever, because I don't know what it was saying to me, but it was saying a word over and over again. And till this day, I can't remember what it was saying, but I just remember in that moment, my older sister, she used to live in this room. She said she had a couple of sleep paralysis experience in this room, and she said whenever she had those, she would start praying. What do? I start praying. And for some reason, I started praying in Spanish. I know my prayer is better in Spanish than in English. And I just started saying it over and over again, the Hail Mary. And this thing, I don't know if it was a spirit or a demon, but it starts growling louder and louder. It's to the point where I feel like I'm pissing it off. Whatever's on me, I'm really agitating it with my prayers. So I just keep praying, and I keep praying, and oh, I'm getting chills right now. Until finally it gets off of me, and I was able to flip around, right? And I'm like at the corner of my bed, and I'm just staring at my ceiling, and at the corner of my room, and I'm just looking around to see like what the hell was on me. And I'm just shaking, and I turn on my light like quickly, and I start feeling myself, and I'm sweating. And I was just looking on my back to see if I had any marks, because it just felt so real. But no, after that, I just couldn't sleep. I just started watching videos about it because I wanted to see if other people had the same experience as me. I think what was terrifying is, you know, you would think like this is where the story ends, but no. There was just a couple of series of events that followed that night. So after that, I go to work and I'm freaking out, and I'm like telling my coworkers about it because talking about it made me feel better. And also, again, I was hoping maybe someone related to my experience. And one of my coworkers actually did. She said that Her experience sounded very similar to mine, except she was on her back and she was able to see this like demon looking thing in the corner. And when I heard that, I was just like, you know what, I'm kind of glad I didn't get to see what this thing was. I went home, and obviously that night I told my boyfriend about it when it happened, but when I went over to his house, I started thinking about it, and I was telling him again, like, I was telling him the story over and over again. I think it was like my third time, like, just talking about it with him that day. And like, I just made a joke and I said, you know what, I feel like I have so many scary stories that I have been through that I can make a whole like series about it. And in that moment, I remember my boyfriend was cleaning. Right next to him, we have a shelf where he keeps, like his TV and just a couple of other items, and also his Bible. In that moment when I made that joke, his Bible falls off the shelf and it lands on the floor, but it's like open. And I look at him and he looks at me, and the first thing I said was, "Can you please pick it up?" And he's just looking at me kind of like freaked out too, and he picks it up immediately, he puts it back. But my gosh, till today I regret not seeing what page it landed on. I don't know, maybe that wasn't relevant, but I don't know, like, to me, my curiosity just, it runs wild. And I was just thinking, like, imagine like if it landed on a specific page. But it was just kind of creepy that his Bible decided to fall out of nowhere in that moment. After that, he picks it up and he's like, okay, you know what, like, let's not talk about this, because you're just putting this energy out. And I was like, you know what, you're right, like, I've been talking about it too much. But in my head I was just thinking, like, wow, that was really weird. And I went home that day and I met up with my sister and told her yet. And I was telling her about, what had happened the night before. And then I told her about the Bible thing. I was just like, you know what, also, when I was talking about it, his Bible fell off. And she was just like, you're just overthinking it, you're overthinking it. And like, in that moment, I was just like, you know what, like, she's right, I'm overthinking it. Like, I need to stop, like, seeing these signs, right? So, like, at that point, I'm like, you know what, I'm overthinking it, like, a bitch is tired, I had a long day at work. But no, I look up and we have this like key holder right in our kitchen. Tell me why we had a keychain and had the Virgin Mary. Tell me why it starts moving in a circle, and it's just moving like that. And I look at my sister, and she, in a way, like, I know she saw what I was looking, but she just didn't want to acknowledge it. Like, sis, look at the keychain. And she looks at the keychain, and like her mouth like dropped like that. But then she was like, nah, like, stop, you're overthinking it, the fan is on, like, it's causing it to move. And I was like, bitch, why aren't the other keys, and there was another keychain on there, I was like, why aren't they moving, just that one? So I went over to turn off the fan just to humor her and also to prove a point. I turned it off, right? In my head, like, I was thinking, like, if it moves, like, I just proved my point. But I didn't actually think it was gonna happen. A couple of minutes, like, I waited till the fan was completely off and it wasn't rotating anymore, right? So I started telling her more about it, and like telling her, like, oh, it's just crazy how I experienced this, like, and also Jessica experienced it. It's just like a little cycle. And then the keychain at that point, it stopped moving, right? And then it starts moving in a circle again. And I'm like, Dana, look. And then she looks and she sees that it's moving, and she's just like, what the hell? That is crazy. She's like, all right, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And in that moment, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to call it a night. I don't want to talk about it either. Like, I proved a point, but did I don't know, like, was that a good idea? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Like, was it worth it? Because I really freaked myself out. And that night, I just could not sleep. I remember just staying up, staring at my ceiling. I had all my lights turned off, and usually, like, I can't sleep in the dark, but my God, that night felt so long, and I did not sleep at all. So the next day, I go to work. I only tell my close co-workers what happened, about, you know, the Bible falling and how I told my sister, and when I was telling her the story, our keychain started moving. They were just like, you know what, that's really weird. And I was just like, you think? Like, I'm kind of terrified. Like, all these things are happening right after I had that experience. Like, I don't know what's going on. And they were just telling me, like, just don't think about it too much. Maybe, like, I'll stop. So I was like, okay. And one of my other coworkers at the time, she was gonna make a trip to Mexico. And she told me she was gonna bring me back a present. And I was just like, oh, like, thank you. And she was like, no, yeah, specifically for what you're going through. And I look at her, I'm like, okay. So when she comes back from her trip, I think she came back in a week, she brought me one of those like red bracelets, and at the end it had a cross and the Virgin Mary. I felt very safe wearing that. So, you know, I was like very grateful for that gift, and I was wearing it like every day. Like, even the only time I would take it off is when I was gonna shower or when I was gonna wash, like, you know, some dishes. But the point is, I remember one night specifically, it was probably like 2 weeks after everything had happened, I had this nightmare. It wasn't a sleep paralysis experience, I just had a nightmare, and I woke up sweaty. I just remember, like, I woke up like in a panic, and I turned on the lights and I look around, and I don't know why I was just in a panic mood. But you know, like, looking back, I was probably panicking because I thought like I was gonna have another sleep paralysis experience, but I didn't. And I just remember I was just super like sweaty, like I don't know, I was just freaking out in my sleep. And I looked down at my hand, like I was just checking out like my body because, you know, again, like I was terrified of what I had dreamt of. I honestly don't remember what I dreamt of, but in that moment I looked down at my hand and I noticed that my bracelet, the Virgin Mary had broken off, and also, like, for the Virgin Mary to be attached, there was a couple of silver beads that had broken off too in my sleep. And after that experience, I was just like, you know what, like, I'm just done. Like, I'm just gonna try to move on from it, because at that point I was just terrified. Like, I was just thinking, like, you know what, like, first the Bible, then it was the Virgin Mary keychain, like, moving on its own. My bracelet broke, and I was honestly upset because, like, I felt very safe, and I tried to fix it, but it didn't work. I remember, like, I was telling my boyfriend, like, you know, I think I'm just gonna move on from this. I'm just gonna, you know, try to distract myself from it because this is getting a little too much. And then, again, his Bible falls over. I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. I am so sick of this. I told him, like, you know what? I grabbed his Bible. This time I picked it up and I was like, I'm gonna lay it flat down in this nice spot so it doesn't fall over. And he was just like, okay. Like, he told me, like, okay, fine, you're right. And ever since then, like, you know, I forgot what I did. I was watching some, like, happy videos every day, some sleep paralysis videos too, but that's not the case. I finally, like, moved on from it, but now, like, honestly, like, the other day when I saw my chair rotate, I wouldn't be surprised if I had another one coming up soon. I don't know, I just feel like I felt like talking about it because it made me feel better, and I would love to hear what other people have gone through. If their situation was similar to mine, I would love to hear about it. Please let me know if you guys think the events that happened after that, if it was a coincidence or if there was something actually, like, trying to, like, tell me something or just trying to freak me out. I was definitely scared for that entire month, honestly. It was on, like, even when I wasn't talking about it, it was on my mind. Glad I haven't had another one in a long time, but I wouldn't be surprised if I had another one. Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you would like to see some more scary videos, let me know. I have plenty of those to tell about. Alright guys, have a great day. Please, please, please be safe, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye!